In the early 1900s, New York City was an icon of opportunity for countless immigrants. Its thriving garment industry promised jobs and a better future. The Triangle Shirtwaist Factory was a burgeoning center of activity, with young women working long hours to produce the blouses that were in high demand. The Triangle Factory symbolized hope and opportunity, where workers found jobs, learned new skills, and contributed to the prosperity of the garment industry. It was a place where dreams could take root.
This is the greatest loss of life at any fire I have ever known. I have prophesied over and over again that just such a thing was bound to happen in some loft building or office building. They call them fireproof, and so think no fire escapes are necessary. But they are not fireproof, only slow burning. Such safeguards save buildings, but not human life.
In the early 20th century, New York was the center of the American garment industry. Immigrant labor, primarily from Italy and Eastern Europe, fueled the industry's growth. The Triangle Shirtwaist Factory employed hundreds of immigrants, mostly young women, who worked 12-hour shifts for $7 per week. The working environment was severe. The employment was dangerous due to cramped adaptations, insufficient airflow, and hazardous conditions. Workers sat close to shoulder at rows of machines, using dangerous equipment with no safeguards in place. Fire was a continuous danger, yet it was mostly ignored by industrial owners.
We were all crowded together. The aisles were narrow. If there was a fire, there would be no way out.
On March 25, 1911, disaster struck. A fire broke out on the 8th floor of the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory. Within minutes, the flames spread, fueled by the piles of fabric and wooden tables that littered the workrooms. Panic swept through the factory. The tragedy could have been prevented. The factory's owners had locked the exit doors to prevent theft, trapping hundreds of workers inside. Fire escapes were poorly constructed and collapsed under the weight of desperate workers trying to escape. Firefighters arrived quickly, but their ladders couldn't reach past the 6th floor.
We heard the fire engines below, but they couldn't save us. The flames were everywhere. Some jumped from the windows because there was no other choice.
They told me I was lucky to have this job. A 17-year-old, lucky to stitch shirts for 10 hours a day. Lucky to just make enough from starving. But luck's just a funny thing. I started here when I was just 15 years old. My family needed the money to pay rent, so I lied about my age. We all sat at these black machines, our backs cramped and bent like old people. March 25th, 1911, a Saturday. We were finishing our shifts. The foreman locked the doors like always, saying it was to keep us from stealing the fabrics. But everyone knew it was to keep us from going away, to remind us we were nothing but their property. Then the room suddenly smelled like cigarettes, which was always happening, but today I saw ash. It was then I knew there was something wrong. Someone shouted, "Fire!" It started so fast. A pile of scraps caught on fire and the flames. Someone yelled for the doors, but the door wouldn't open and the foreman was gone. I felt like it was feeling like my skin was peeling off. I saw girls jump off from the windows. Our floor was the 8th floor, and I had no courage to jump off. One of the workers found the fire escape. We climbed down the fire escape. As we were going down, the fire escape was also burning and breaking down. The fire escape twisted and crumbled as we made it down. Some of the girls behind us couldn't make it. I was worried, but someone said, "Don't look back, move forward." And somehow I listened. Although I made it, I didn't feel good. 146 lives lost, all because that man locked the doors. After the fire, everything changed. The funerals seemed endless. Rows and rows of coffins for girls no older than me, coffins for older ones. But we didn't just mourn, we demanded it. We fought. People from every corner of the city, men, women, immigrants, even society ladies, joined us. They stood in the streets, demanding new laws to protect workers. The Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire wasn't just my story. It belonged to everyone, workers, managers, citizens who watched it happen. We all saw the flames, but we lived it differently.
We ran a business. Yes, the doors were sometimes locked, but only to prevent theft. It was standard practice in every factory. We cared about our workers. The fire, it was a tragedy, but it wasn't our fault. They called us murderers, said we locked those doors on purpose. that we cared more about our money than their lives. But no one knows what it was like that day, what it's like to live with this. I told myself we'd done everything we could, that there was nothing more we could have done. But then the papers came. The headlines screamed about locked doors, about the fire escapes collapsing. They called us cowards, criminals. I tried to tune it out, but the faces stay with me. They say we walked away free, but I've never felt free. Not from their screams, or the smell of smoke, or the sight of those girls falling from the windows. I close my eyes, and it's all still there.
I work in a factory just like this one. Same machines, same long hours, same locked doors. I've seen sparks fly near the machines before. What's to stop it from happening where I work? It's not just about the Triangle Factory. It's all of us. Any one of us could be next. This city is no stranger to tragedy, but this was different. The fire didn't just consume lives, it revealed the truth. A truth we've all been ignoring. The sweatshops, the tenements, the exploitation, it's all connected. The greed of a few built on the suffering of many. This isn't just about the fire anymore, it's about change. About making sure no one else has to bury their daughter or sister because some rich man decided to save a few dollars. This fire wasn't just an accident, it was a crime. A crime of greed, of negligence, of treating human lives like they don't matter. But we're here to say enough is enough. We demand safer conditions, fair treatment, and justice for every worker in this city. The fire broke our hearts, but it lit a flame in all of us. We won't stop until the laws change, until the factories are safe, until every worker knows they matter. They say the dead can't speak, but I hear them. In every chant, every march, every fight for justice, they're with us.
Following the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory disaster in 1911, numerous laws and improvements were made to enhance worker safety. For the first time, regulations like secure exit doors, fireproof stairs, and reinforced fire escapes were put into place when everyone began building new structures following the fire. Another area of focus was accident prevention, where companies had to install sprinkler systems and maintain a clean and orderly workplace. Workers' unions, such as the International Ladies Garment Workers Union, gained popularity. For instance, the fire was used to promote a campaign for greater pay, less hours worked, and a better working environment. The public's anger over the earlier catastrophe also significantly contributed to the passage of regulations that limited the amount of hours that people could work or receive proper compensation, or that banned miners from working in hazardous environments. These adjustments represent a constructive step in improving safe, healthy, and more equitable working conditions for all of the nation's workforce. Some may argue that these changes are no longer necessary, particularly in light of the modern safety and manufacturing methods. However, the risk factors along with unjust procedures persisted on a local and international level, reminding anyone of reasons for these safeguards. They discovered that worker protection is a continuous accountability process, rather than a one-time event. There are always new hazards, such as supply chain instability or temporary employment. This is because we must support businesses that support fair treatment of workers and hold employers accountable for the working conditions they provide. Furthermore, by understanding history and its current benefits, it may be possible to establish a society in which all workers are appreciated, paid fairly, and treated with respect.